It's February to early March of 2022, and I'm in a position where I'm nowhere near being the person that I am today. Addicted to his phone, junk food, warm showers, and almost all the quick pleasures of life with the exception of being into physical fitness a little bit. I would fall asleep on the bus ride into school most days because of how tired I was from the night before. I've lost sleep from scrolling on my phone for so long. All right guys, we're just switching up locations because you can hardly see my face in that area. It's a very sunny day, and I think it's important to get some shade for this video so I'm comfortable, you can see me properly, everything's good. Going back to the story, however, my face was covered in acne, my hair was messy, I didn't dress very well, and I felt pretty bad on a consistent basis due to the lack of sort of mental and physical care I was taking part in during the day. I had all the time in my hands back then to do something about it, to change my situation around for the better. But the problem was I was still feeding off my past negative experiences, allowing how the way other people treated me and what I'd gone through dictate how I felt and what I did with my life. I saw people who were doing worse off than me. I took too much pride in my accomplishments up to that point, and so therefore I allowed myself to slip a little bit. I didn't even have very many friends that I was really even interacting with, so I would just lie in bed, not doing anything, eating like shit, and just staring at a phone screen almost all day. It was a lost chapter in my young life. Someone with so much potential just like you, who didn't know where to channel his focus, didn't know how to turn his negative thought patterns into positive ones. Fast forward about 2.5 years later, and I found myself in a very similar position compared to before. A lonely chapter, a time where there's not much going on, I'm not sure exactly what to do. And I'm sort of feeding into my current negative circumstances, allowing them to define who I am day after day. The only form of exercise I'm really doing around this time is ab workouts. My diet is still shitty, but definitely less shitty compared to 2.5 years prior. And I'm only turning the nozzle to cold after a warm shower or at the end of one. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is immediately scroll away on my phone. All I want to do is just lay in bed all day, watch YouTube, talk to my friend, be comfortable, and be happy. Now, if you're currently watching this video right now, I'm more than willing to bet that you have or are currently living in a similar way to how I did in these two scenarios. And you're not exactly sure how to get out of this, what brought you here. In the first instance, I can confidently say that I was embracing more of the victim mentality, so to speak. By allowing my past negative circumstances to get the best of me, to put me in a position where I was barely doing anything with my life, I was contacting that weaker side of myself rather than the stronger one that would be fueled by that negativity. And in the second scenario, I was living a life void of purpose and meaning, coming off of one that was pretty full with that. So naturally, I ended up completely losing myself, becoming depressed, and not doing anything much about it. Now, maybe your scenarios are entirely different from mine. Maybe you went through something that really disrupted your life, or you had a major injury that prevented you from doing the thing you loved, for example. Whatever the case may be, I want to firstly share with you what helped me get out of these two situations. And maybe that can help you in turn find ways to help yourself out of yours. In the first scenario, I found this drive to slowly work my way up from being at what I felt to be a rock bottom point for myself. I was in such a bad spot mentally, physically, work ethic wise as well. And I saw all these other people around me doing way better than I was. I just found this sort of spark from it to want to see myself become better again, to push myself, to want to push my mental capacity even further compared to ever before. In a way, even though you shouldn't compare, I wanted to beat these people who I saw as doing better than me. I wanted to outdo them in the best way I could. And the way for myself to do that was through the sport of running, which really drove me towards strengthening my mind and body overall, as well as building a strong work ethic for myself. I wanted to prove everyone wrong because by this point, I'd pushed myself so far down to the point that now I was seen as a joke. I was the one who people saw as weak. I found purpose in pursuing this activity, and that therefore pushed me to want to strive towards becoming better in all areas. And from that point moving forward, only progress more and more. From being the person who would fall asleep on the bus ride almost every morning, sometimes even missing their stops, to the person in 6 months hitting 20-minute meditations on the bus ride into school every morning. I went from the person who would tire easily during track practice to 6 months later being the person who would be hitting a second run or workout after every practice. I went from being the acne-covered, bloated-faced kid who girls would ignore to the person with a strong jawline, clear skin, and who actually had a girl approach him for a snap in the hallway. Again, if you are currently in the position that I was in, then you have no idea how much potential you have right now. Find something that drives you, something that gives you that spark back into your life, and you will go 1,000 miles further than you can even imagine right now. Now, going on to the second scenario, if you're in a position right now where you feel burnt out or you're lacking purpose and meaning in your life, then you need to go into a mode of not giving a fuck. Now, what I mean by this is really finding who you are, what you want out of your life, not what anyone else wants, and sort of cultivating that drive and passion again to therefore push yourself out of your current situation. For me, that's obviously been YouTube self-improvement content creation. Throughout high school, I would watch self-improvement gurus talking about things like cold showers, meditation, working out, callousing your mind, and all that good stuff. I had done my fair share of engaging in those habits and mindsets for myself over the years, and I'd been really building the skills that they were preaching in these videos for myself. And since I'd built some level of skills, right, not an expert then, still not one now, I was able to sort of grow and learn through my own teachings, building knowledge so I could help other people do the same. You may or may not over the past few years have built the skills or knowledge to start your own thing or share your own wisdom with other people. Maybe go ahead and document your journey getting out of your own rut right now and see where that takes you. Who knows? I think a big part of this personally for me was sort of understanding and accepting where I was currently at. Knowing the journey ahead was going to be challenging, but pursuing that challenge anyway, knowing that it would help me level up in life. Right, so I hope this video helped you today, my friend. As always, keep putting in that work towards becoming at least 1% better each and every day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay grinding.